Used vehicles have, well, they've crashed. The values have crashed, and we've got to talk about this because whether you're buying a brand new vehicle or whether you're buying a used vehicle, you need to know, what's your trade really worth? Is it a good time to buy a new vehicle? Is it a good time to buy a used vehicle? And what about that trade? What does it mean if you order? And what does it mean if you find something on the lot and you've got to trade in your trade now? So I'm Johnny at Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, and I'm here to help. My goal really is to help with your vehicle purchasing and vehicle decision-making process. I like to look at things really straightforward, data-driven. So let's just put the pedal to the metal and jump right in. We will be walking the lot in just a moment to show you really live, kind of, you could say, in real life, what things look like outside of this office. But really what things are looking like inside this office where we've got data is that prices were inflated by 30%. So that means, heck, a $10,000 trade was worth 13. A $30,000 trade was worth 39. Now, what does this really mean? It means that if you're shopping a used vehicle, prices were really high. And that, this is why I haven't done reviews on used vehicles, because I've actually done the reviews. I just haven't edited them and put them out because, well, I didn't feel it was a great time to buy a used vehicle, because you're looking at used vehicles and they're on average 30% more than they usually would be. So they made for expensive purchases. However, interest rates were lower, and this does affect your overall monthly. If you pay cash, well, still vehicles were inflated. Now, if you're ordering a vehicle and you got your vehicle evaluated, do expect that while you've waited over 3 months, really the crash has been occurring in the last 1 to 4 weeks. So within the last month, we've gone from being inflated by 30% to being inflated by 15%. So it's not a bad time to get your trade done now. If you have a vehicle and you're going to be selling it either yourself or trading it in, you still have an above average value for your vehicle. If you look at the overall average for the last 10 years, roughly your trade is worth about 15% more. And why has this implosion really occurred? Well, interest rates have gone up. And with interest rates going up, the used market has started to cool off. You'll start seeing, if not already, inventories being much bigger than they were. And really, used inventories last summer were much smaller than they normally would be. And dealerships that had large inventories, well, it was because they're getting vehicles from the auction and paying a premium on them, or the trade-ins they did get, because of course less new vehicles were coming in. Most manufacturers are getting about 20 to 40% less vehicles to new car lots. That means less trade-ins coming in, which I always feel that there's a safer chance of having a nice vehicle, a good vehicle to purchase if it's a trade-in, as opposed to the auction house. Well, a bit of everything goes off to auction. So you've got rental vehicles that go off to auction, you've got accidented vehicles that go off to auction, and traditionally the auction are the vehicles that the dealerships didn't want to keep. So if you currently got your vehicle evaluated even just 3 weeks ago, yes, it could very well, and it has, honestly, if you got evaluated 4 or 5 weeks ago, your vehicle's definitely worth less. It's worth a lot less. It's worth 15% less, but it's still worth 15% more than usual. And you do need to realize, if you place an order for a vehicle right now, the price that you get now or the price that you got 6 months ago will drastically differ. And in 6 months from now or 3 months from now, there is the risk that we're still inflated by 15% despite interest rates being high. And definitely if they get higher, one thing is for certain in my books, we're going to lose that 15% if they go higher. If interest rates go lower, well, we might start to see some more inflation going back up towards that over-evaluation of vehicles. At its peak, 30%, currently 15% inflated. So still a good time to sell your vehicle. It's still worth more than it normally would be, but it has gone down 15%. So that's really a good part of the message. That's the simple part. Now let's actually go and walk a lot together and look at what inventories actually look like and talk about this just a little more. Used vehicles were, well, they had been ballooned up by about 30%. Some vehicles like the Bronco, well, 150% because they're selling used for more than they are new. But the used market was up by about 30% more than usual, than a normal year. Some years I've seen in the last 10 years, there have been a couple of years where the used market was down, but below the 0%. We say zero is kind of the middle, but right now you can see right here, these are vehicles that are all for sale, all used vehicles. Now this time last year, there was about usually 4 to 8 pickups for sale. And right now, if I walk the entire lot that's here, there's about 60 pickups for sale. And well, trade-ins, their values have gone down by about 15%. Now there's still a potential 15% to be lost before things are back to normal. You can absolutely get your hands on a used vehicle, and there's starting to be better selection and the prices are starting to come down because dealers are starting to pay them based on the current market, which is 15 to 20% less. You're not going to see it immediately on all the vehicles that are for sale. You won't immediately see that price come down if you're looking for a used vehicle, but that is coming up because dealers, as of the last 3 weeks, dealers have been buying vehicles for a little less, still, 15% less, but when the market was already, had already exploded and was 30% above normal, it was an extremely amazing time to sell. But when you get a used vehicle, it also meant you're paying more than you normally would have traditionally. Well, now those prices are going down because interest rates are going up. So a used interest rate now can play around, 8%, 7.99, 6.99, so, or even 8.99 if it's an older one. So interest rates have gone up to calm inflation, and you can see it. It's making it so that vehicles are starting to build up, used vehicles. So it's starting to be a good time to buy a used vehicle, except for the factor of, well, the interest rate. So if you can pay part of it cash or all of it cash, it's starting to become a really nice time to look for a used vehicle. Now let's go look at the new lot. My Mustang right behind me. I usually let Marie take my Mustang to her work, but she's on vacation, so I'm treating myself to my own vehicle. What a wonderful treat. But I just want to mention, I was talking about the used lot. Well, the used lot, buying a used vehicle with 30% increase than usual means if the market does crash all of a sudden, well, it can be a little harder to trade if, you like switching vehicles every 6 months to a year. But if you're going to keep it 10 years, 5 years, it's not a big deal. At least interest rates were lower. Well, now the interest rates are going up and the prices on the used vehicles are going to go down. They've already gone down by about 15%. So it's becoming a better time to buy a vehicle, but not in regards to interest. So try to pay cash, but in life, we can't have it both ways. We can't have it all, so it's one or the other, and that's true for the new yard as well. So a lot of people are going to dealers, either calling dealers or walking to dealers saying, hey, can I have one of those new vehicles sitting on your lot? The answer is you really have to order it. The new vehicles still have relatively good interest rates on them, and your used vehicle, your trade-in, is worth so much more, but it's worth more because there's no inventory. This isn't inventory. These are all customers' vehicles. They're waiting to pick up their vehicles. They need to be prepped and worked on, so you just can't have it, unfortunately, both ways. You get more for your trade. Well, why are you getting more for your trade? Because there's no new inventory, so you can't expect to get new inventory. You need to unfortunately get off the couch and order one up. Now you do want to order it properly, so do make sure that you follow my 10 steps because that's pretty bulletproof. So just to conclude, really want to point out 3 really important points. First of all, new inventory. It doesn't exist if the model is popular. And if the model is popular, you got to accept it doesn't exist, but you also get the benefit, pros and cons. You got to wait, but it's going to have excellent resale value. The vehicles that are currently sitting on lots and are available, so if you walk into a lot and they've got, 15 or more of the same model, well, that model isn't popular. And if it's sitting as new inventory available now, it's not going to have very good resale. So what can you do? Well, here's my suggestion. In the video, we did point out that used interest rates are pretty darn high right now, and they might they're actually very high, and they might even get even higher. So if you are gonna buy used, let's say you need a vehicle right now, here's my big tip. Put in an order for a new vehicle, and if it's gonna be 1, 2, or 3 years to get that new vehicle, and that's pretty common across many manufacturers. You know, when we're talking about popular models that will have great resale value, well, it's easy. Buy a used vehicle, but buy a used vehicle that you can either pay cash or provide a good cash down on. And if you can actually calculate how much that interest is gonna cost you. So let's say you put your loan on 5 or 6 years. Well, you have a financed amount. Well, take your monthly and multiply by, let's say you're on 5 years, take your monthly, multiply it by the 60 months, and now you've got your total amount with all the interest, and subtract that from your financed amount. You'll know the exact amount that the total interest will cost you, but that's not what you're gonna pay, because remember, in this scenario, you've ordered a new vehicle. So you know that when it comes in within a year, if you get told it's gonna be about a year wait, well, you can take your interest that you now know is for the total over 5 years, and you can get a good idea of how much you're gonna pay in interest for the first year if you divide by 5. Now, loans are a little more top heavy generally in regards to interest at the beginning. So if you want an exact calculation, you can always ask, if you're at a dealership, ask for the table that shows the breakdown of payments versus interest. It's an amortization table, and that's gonna show you exactly how much you will pay in interest in that first 1, 2, or 3 years. And there are some popular models on the market right now that you'll actually wait 4 or 5 years for. So it's important to be informed. And if you want to stay informed and you want to just help the channel out, please hit that like button, share this with anyone that can benefit from knowing this information. And please do subscribe so that you don't miss out on more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to get this far in the video. And if you have, please just throw in the comment finisher. And if you have questions, we do try to do a weekly live on Fridays. Sometimes worst case scenarios, it might go to a bi-weekly live on Fridays, but write your questions down and bring them to the live session so that I make sure I don't miss them, because some videos do generate, 100 comments or 200 comments. Sometimes, unfortunately, I just can't get to every single question, even though I am Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews, and it does make me actually quite happy to help out, but sometimes I can't get to all the questions. So please bring them to the live. We'll always try to have a Q&A at the end of every live. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, I wish you all more cars and more power. If it's your thing, I do hope you get to put the pedal to the metal. Take care and have a great week.